Fat to Fit, day 269 through 273. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm finally back. Hello, everybody. I have amazing news for all of you guys. I have finally learned the arcane secrets of sunscreen application. And even though I went to the beach, I actually did not get sunburned, guys. Can you believe it? No sunburns. Isn't that awesome? I'm very, very happy about this. I was applying sunscreen like a madman. You guys have seen my ridiculous sunburns that I've had over the last few months. No more, guys. I finally learned sunscreen. I've discovered sunscreen after over 2 decades of life. This is a monumental occasion. Can we get a round of applause? I finally learned. So no more sunburns. Now, I have been gone for about 5 days. I went on a little bit of an impromptu vacation. It was really awesome. I'm very happy I did it. The thing is, I could have come back like 2 days ago, and I had planned to. Basically, I was ashamed of how much food I was eating, and that's why I didn't. That's why I finally come out today, even though I have been eating quite a lot in the last few days. I need to get back into making videos because I don't want this to go on any longer. I don't want you guys thinking I gave up or something, because I'm not that kind of person. So basically, the last 5 days or so have been pretty rough calorie-wise. Obviously, I was on vacation. I kind of let myself go on vacation. The last 2 days, I wasn't really watching what I was eating either, honestly. I did watch, I recorded all the stuff that I ate on the first day of my vacation, and then also today as well. So I know those 2 days, but I actually don't know the 3 days in between. I just wasn't even bothering because I was out at places. I didn't bring my food scale to whatever event and whatnot, you know what I mean? So I don't really know for sure, but I estimate that I probably had an average of around 4,000 to 4,500 calories a day, which is quite a lot, but I've done a lot worse, so I'm not really too unhappy with this number. Another thing is that before, when I'd have too many days in a row like this where I ate a lot, I would go on a ridiculous restriction and I would burn myself out, and then it would just lead to this sort of extreme restriction, cheating, cycle, which is basically a borderline an eating disorder, to be honest. So no more of that. I'm not going to fast for all day tomorrow or anything like that, even though I did consider it. I'm actually going to set in place a few specific rules that I'm going to be following very, very strictly over the next 2.5 months. In 2.5 months, mid-October, I'm going to be going on a trip. I want to be done with this by now. I want to lose about 15 more pounds or so, which is going to be difficult but doable. We've lost most of the weight that, we're going to, obviously, and I just want to get this last little bit done before my little vacation in like 2.5 months. And I want to basically be in peak condition, because once I get back, I'll have to lose, a few pounds that I put on during the vacation. So basically, I want to get all that done. That's going to be around 1 year of Fat to Fit as well. So basically, everything's coming down to this. I want to get it all done by then. I'm very excited. Here are the rules that I'm setting in stone right now, okay? I've changed the rules a lot here and there. I've experimented to see what works. This is what I put a lot of thought into, and these rules are set in stone for the next 2.5 months. So no more than 2,000 calories a day maximum. No less than 1,200 calories a day maximum, so that, I don't go into an insane fast mode where I eat, way too little, and then it makes me freak out and start binge eating, like has done many times. So that's designed to prevent that. I'm going to aim for around 1,200 to 1,300 calories a day, and then if I want to eat more than that, I'll probably just have yogurt or cottage cheese, 300 calories of that, to try and tie myself over and try to not go over 1,600 calories. And then, so basically, I'm going to be aiming for around 1,300 to 1,600, if, around that. But I'm giving myself 2,000 just in case I feel really hungry one day, or, I don't want to feel really guilty because I have an extra 300 calories or something like that. And then, guilt for me kind of snowballs small mistakes into big ones, as you guys are probably aware at this point. So I want to try and prevent that. So 1,200 to 2,000 calories a day, no excuses for that. I'm also not going to do any calorie debt anymore. I would be thinking I'll have an extra 500 calories and I'll just make up for it tomorrow, not a big deal. And then this would snowball into way more, and then it would stress me out, and then I start stress eating, etc. No more calorie debt. I think that was a mistake to do that in the first place. We tried it. It didn't work, so we're getting rid of that. Another thing is that I'm going to try my absolute hardest not to eat any food after I record these videos. I have done that in the recent past where I'd upload one of these videos and then I'd eat it 500 calories, 2,000 calories immediately after. That would sort of set me up for failure the next day. I'm going to try really hard not to eat after these videos are up. That's going to be a big deal. Also going to get back into lifting weights and running. I haven't really been doing that very much the last 2 weeks. Got to get back into that. And then I also want to try my hand at cooking. So this is something I've been thinking about for a while. I want to learn how to cook. I'm trying to learn how to cook. If I want to keep like all the fat off of me, I'm going to need to know how to make my own meals and whatnot instead of just, eating whatever processed garbage is in the house at whatever time, that's ready to go. I really need to learn how to cook, so I've been working on that. I want to cook myself something legitimately, that takes a little bit more effort than like putting it in the microwave or something like that. I want to do that at least once a day. It can be something I've already done before, like, I can cook myself eggs or something like that or whatever, but I need to cook myself usually at least one thing a day. Basically, that's going to be my goal. Not going to be like an insane rule or whatever. It's basically a goal, but I'm going to be working on that. For instance, I made a bunch of burgers and a bunch of homemade fries from a bunch of potatoes I chopped up today and also a few days ago as well for everybody. So basically, I want to be doing more stuff like that, but with healthier foods than burgers. I want to eat healthier items. I'm going to be learning. Like I'll make myself different variations of eggs and things like this. Different versions of chicken I'll learn how to make, stuff like that, you know what I mean? So I want to cook at least once a day, and those are basically my rules. So I did not weigh myself for the last few days, except I did this morning. I weighed in at 184.6 pounds, which is quite high, but we are pretty bloated up from eating too much the last few days, so that'll go back down pretty quick. I had about 7.5 hours of sleep per night on average. One night was really bad, but I made up for it a few days later. That's basically it. I don't really have anything else to say. I didn't really have any creatine this whole time because I forgot. I pretty much always have the creatine like right before I make these videos, and they're kind of like my reminder. So I haven't been taking the creatine. I got back on that. I'll have like probably 10 grams after this video's up. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Honestly, I've been watching the new season of Dexter. It's actually surprisingly good. Didn't expect that. Hopefully they don't fumble it like they have every other season of Dexter in the last I don't know how many years it's been, but basically, hopefully it's actually good. My fingers are crossed. And then also been playing the hell out of Slime Rancher, and I bought Slime Rancher 2, and I'm playing a little bit of that. Pretty fun stuff. Thank you all for watching. Your mother is so fat that I printed out a picture of her, and it weighed 20 pounds. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 274. I don't want to miss a single day up until 2.5 months from now when I go on my vacation. Fingers crossed. Hopefully I'll do it, okay? We'll see.